Here we are on the homepage of Freight Trans Manager. We have different list views, dashboards, charts that can help get an overview of the current status of the company. We can see all the lane codes, all the codes on the loads that are still open and need to be followed up. We have some useful charts like the charges by carrier versus the customer rates. We can see the sales by each dispatcher. We can see some information about the expenses. The bottom, we have another list view on the loads that are not delivered yet. And on the top, we have different tabs like accounts, contacts, contracts, etc. Starting with accounts, this is where we keep track of all the customers that we have and we work with. For example, this one, you'll see all the details about that company. And the next one is the contacts, those people who are working for the customers that we are dealing with. And as you can see, Andy works for this company. If I click, it's going to jump back to the accounts. And that's how related they are. And next two tabs are also standard Salesforce tabs, contracts and orders. Contracts are long-term contracts, let's say yearly or seasonal contracts. Orders are individual orders based off those yearly or seasonal contracts that you can create from and keep track of all of the contracts and orders. Next is carriers, all the trucking companies, transportation companies that we are working with. Basically, we are getting loads from the customers and giving it to these carriers that they are hauling that for us. You can keep track of their US DOT number, the MC number, and also type of the business they are, if they are LTL or other kind of businesses. We can keep track of them, that information here. You have a section for their insurance information, cargo, liability, etc., and their expiration. And you can set filters and see which ones are expiring, so you notify them or you update that in the system and so on. You have another section for their addresses, billing and shipping as well. And on the right side, you have a box to keep track of all the paperwork and that they have, let's say their authority, insurance information, and so on. Next important tab is the lane quote, all the quotes that you give to your customers based on the shipments they have. Let's go into one of these. It has a rate that you give your customer, and also you have an idea how much you're gonna give to the carrier company and how much you're gonna make on this deal. And once it's gone through, you convert it to an actual load, which we're gonna see in the next section. This is when the contract is signed with the customer. You see information about that load, which lane code you created this load from, who is the customer, how much you're going to get, who is the carrier who's hauling that load. You see the distance information, pickup delivery information, and other specification about the load. And again, you have a box here to keep track of the paperwork related to that load. Also on the top, you have a box here to keep track of all the activities like emails that you're sending back and forth, login communication between different parties, let's say the driver or the carrier who's hauling or the customer. You can log phone calls that you have with them. You can send emails directly from here. There are also this possibility to use the templates available to you. Let's say load to carrier. If you hit that, it's gonna take all the information from the left side and puts it in this box on the right side that you can send to any carrier that you're working with. Also on the top, you have the ability to create documentation based off the details of this load. For example, you have create invoice. With one click, it creates an invoice that you can send it to your customer. It can be customized. Your logo can go up here, as we can see in the next documentation. For example, bill of lading can be also generated with one click. You see the logo on top left, signature lines. If you need an instruction at the bottom of the page, we can add it for you as well. We have also rate confirmation, which is basically a contract on one particular load that you can generate with one click and send it over to your carrier. All right, the next section is expenses, where you can keep track of all the expenses that you have, and you can associate those expenses to carriers, to loads, or to the employees or workers who work for you. And next section that we have here is the facilities, basically warehouses that you are managing. If you have any, you can keep track of those facilities, which company are these facilities belong to, the address, and so on. And then last but not least, the reports. We have a wide variety of reports that are out of the box, like accounts payable, accounts receivable, aging, with some nice charts showing due date for each of these payments, each of these loads that you're hauling for your customers. You can also create your own reports or clone any of these reports and modify it further.